All right, it's 6 p.m. I'd like to open the May 11th Board of Selectmen meeting. Could I have a roll call, please?
Joe Shank present.
Chaz Sexton Duranian present.
Veronica Cal present. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'd like to announce that the meeting is being recorded, and audio and video recorded. It also should be live on Channel 9, and it will be posted on YouTube after the meeting is over. Chairman additions and deletions, 1.4. I have none. What about you guys?
I have none.
I don't know if we talk about it after we come back in the session, but I'd like to ask you a question about the old library.
Oh, okay. Well, that might be a good place for, why do I only have one page here? Comments at the end, announcements and all that. I don't know why I only have one page agenda in front of me. In any event, that's what we'll do. Okay, so just remind me, Joe, when we come back into session. Okay.
You're gonna ask if anybody else is recording?
Is there anybody else recording the meeting? Thank you.
Yes, I am, Ronnie.
You are?
Yes.
Separate from TCAM, Dave?
Yes.
Yes.
And we're experimenting to try and make sure we've got our technology nailed down nicely.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right. Public comment period. Are there any comments? Okay, seeing none. Review and approve the meeting minutes for 3/2/2021. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the meeting minutes for 3/2/2021.
And a second?
Well, I have a question about it, but second.
Okay, so discussion then. We're open for discussion. Let me pull those out. I have them here.
I need something striked off of there on 3.3. Ready for what I got?
Almost. Let me get to that. Okay, 3.3.
Where as JS makes a motion that we appoint Dalen Sylvester, and it says to the let me. I don't know what that to the let me is.
All right, that needs to be, that was probably a cut and paste. To the full-time police officer?
Yeah.
Or as full-time?
As full-time police officer.
Effective March 15th. Okay.
Add on them minutes. Other than that, they were okay.
All right. Chaz, anything from you?
No.
Okay, so Joe, do you want me to go in and edit those? What I've been doing is editing any changes that we make in the meeting into the SharePoint file and then transferring it into the SharePoint approved minutes file.
That's fine. You can, I make a motion that we allow you to change those minutes and upload them to SharePoint.
All right.
Second.
All right. All those in favor, if that's a motion. This is on the me doing the minutes changes.
Yeah. Joe Shank. Well, I can't do my own, right?
No, you can say.
Oh,
yeah, you can vote.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Cal, yes. So I will change the minutes accordingly. Now, can we have we need to do a vote on approving the minutes as amended. Mm-hmm. So all those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian abstain.
Veronica Cal, yes. So I will make those changes and move them into the approved minutes folder. So let me just note that on here. Approved with change. All right. At this point, we are moving down the agenda to the executive session. You have to understand that I'm making the agendas and I've kind of kept 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in order. So at 6:05, we have an executive session. We will be returning to open session afterwards, and there is a separate link for the executive session. So I think everybody got the executive session, but anybody that didn't, who I know should be there, I will invite in because we're using a different Zoom link. So we went back and forth. Jim isn't here today, and he normally is in the hall with TCAM. We are all at home. So for the executive session, what we decided is to establish a different Zoom link. It is in my Zoom account, and it will be recorded in the cloud. So that recording will be available once the minutes are.
Madam Chair, who are we allowing in? Are we allowed, is it gonna be the fire chief, looks like the deputy chief, and 3 of us? Is that what we're doing?
Just the 5 of us is what I
Um,
said.
The chief did send me the Zoom link. I just wanted to make sure it's okay for me to come in.
I have no problem with that. Joe or Chaz?
No, I do not at all.
Okay, yeah, I figured he would distribute it as appropriate.
Okay.
So everybody else that is on the call, we will be about 30 to 40 minutes, I'm guessing, at the most. So I don't know, Dave and Hartley, what you've decided. People can either log out and log back in around, I'd say 6:45. They can try, and if we're back, then they would be let back in from the waiting room.
We've got a screen that we can post that will say, please stand by, executive session in progress. That will continue broadcasting and showing, so that way people will know that you are coming back.
Okay, in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the meeting.
Well, we jump out of here.
We will all leave this meeting, and you will log in on the other Zoom link. And then when we're done, I'll close that Zoom link and we'll come back and, enter again into the link for the rest of the meeting.
Ronnie, can I ask a quick question?
Sure, John.
If I'm already on it, I can just leave it but muted and it'll come back to me eventually?
I believe so. Dave, is
Okay.
that okay?
Yes, we're not going to shut it down. It's just going to keep running. It's just you 4 or 5 people that are going into executive will drop out. Andrea, Lynn, Cindy, John, myself, we'll all stay here, but nothing's going to happen until you
Okay.
rejoin us.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
All right.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Correct. Yes.
I'd like to make a motion. We go into an executive session pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, S 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. And return regarding the fire department, and we're returning to open session after the conclusion.
Is there a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
Joe Shanky.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Kell, yes. All right, we'll see everybody in about 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
All right. All right, well, who do we got on here? All right, I'm back.
And I'm back, and Veronica's coming in.
All right. Okay, where are we? We are.
All right,
Hartley.
so, we're returning from executive session. So could I just for completeness, could I have a roll call, please?
Joe Shank present.
Chess Sexton Duranian present.
Veronica Cal present. And with that, we will move down to the work session 5 on the agenda with 5.1, review appointments and postings for appointments to be made in June. And I guess Hartley and or Dave, if I could be set up to screen share, that would be great. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. John, are you still on here? I have a question for John Page. It has to
I
do
am
with
now.
the charter. Okay, so looking over the charter changes, when are those effective? When do they take effect? Is it after the legislature?
They'll take effect upon the approval of the document by the legislature.
Okay, thank you. So we're still using the old charter.
The existing charter is still in effect until the legislature makes a decision on our proposal that passed at town meeting.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So what I wanted to do was appointments and postings are in June, and what was in our packet, the SharePoint, was and I'm going to try to bring this up. So just give me 1 second. All right. So maybe I can do this.
You'll be a pro before this is done.
Yeah. I'm going to try to share screen for the appointed officials. This list is also on the website under the town clerk. She has a list of appointed and elected officials. And I don't know how, okay, I think this is it. So let me try sharing it. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Make it a little bigger.
Okay, let me see if I can.
There you go. Oh, right there.
Well, almost.
Yeah.
Okay, and now let me see if I can scroll down. So what I wanted to do was go through all of these and see which of these we needed to get appointments for, or, just to notify each of the committees or boards or whatever is here. These are the appointed officials, and not all, but most of them are appointed by the Board of Selectmen. Does that make sense to you guys? To go through and see, and I did put in the SharePoint, we had a few appointments that have come in, and a few volunteer response forms that have come in. They're in the SharePoint folder as well. So what I thought was, if we could just identify what appointments needed to be made, and yes, this is normally something that the administrative assistant does. I just thought we'd get a jump on it here. So, okay. So just going through the anniversary committee, it looks like those are all the American Flag Committee. I also don't know how complete these lists are. They were, I think this was, I printed, it says date printed was 11/16/2020. Is that what's at the bottom of yours, if you have hard copy?
Yep.
Yeah. So hopefully they're up to that. So animal inspector, the animal inspector of barn books needs to be reappointed. So I think that typically what happens is a form goes out to the person or the chair of the committee saying, hey, what's the status? So we would need one to them. The Board of Registrars, I believe we reappointed Catherine Thrasher a few meetings ago. Do you remember doing that, Joe?
Yep.
So I think she was already reappointed, so we are good with the Board of Registrars. The Board of Selectmen, yeah, Municipal Hearings Officer, Town Administrator, Chief Procurement Officer, set. Building Department, the alternate. So something needs to go to the Building Department for the alternate building inspector. Same with the burial agent, needs to be reappointed. Capital planning. If I'm right, this is, I thought the moderator appointed them, and then there were certain committees. There are four members from the community that are appointed by the moderator. And then there are three, one from finance, one from planning, and one from Board of Selectmen for capital planning. So we need to look at that. And that is defined in the charter. The charter that we're definitely under right now.
Right. I thought it was 3 that were appointed by the moderator, but maybe it is 4. Would John know?
Well, the fourth one had been, when I was on the committee, the fourth one was Steve Spofford. If you look in the charter, it'll tell you in the current charter. The fourth one was Steve Spofford, but his term ran out. Mark Hussey resigned. I thought Lynn was resigning as well, but in any event, her term has expired. So where am I at? I should get down to this, shouldn't I? So that's where we are right there. So Steve was in 2020, I guess it was, a year ago. So he wasn't listed here as appointed, and no one else was ever appointed in his space. For the Board of Selectmen member, that was Wayne, and you were the planning board member, and I think Jerry Lynn was the finance committee member for this year. So it's 7 members. So that's what I remember.
Right. So
So confirm this. We'll confirm this.
the only position that's there is one person. The rest is
To be TBD.
TBD. Yeah. So that has to be filled by June, right?
Typically the capital planning committee starts in the fall, like in September timeframe. So there's a little bit of time, but I think we need a posting. And if it's the moderator who appoints these, we should notify him.
Okay.
So I'll,
Madam Chair,
yeah,
Andrea.
I'm sorry.
It's Andrea. I think the burial agent is appointed by the Board of Health.
It could be. I don't know. We can find that out. That's circled to find out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That would make sense, wouldn't it? All right. So capital planning committee, we'll find out from the charter, see if the moderator does the appointing and get a posting out.
Yeah.
All right. Next one, charter review committee. Everybody runs out in 2021 and they're appointed by the moderator. And I guess that at this point, since it's waiting for the legislature, we're just gonna let those run out. I don't know. I guess we should find out. Is John still on the call?
John still is on the call, Madam Chair.
Oh, do you have anything to add to this?
I believe my understanding under the existing charter and what we've done is that upon the vote of the town meeting this last weekend, that as a matter of process that the committee dissolves. There's really nothing to be done beyond this. I'll work with town council as needed to present the packet for the legislature. But there's really nothing else that the Charter Review Committee can do. We've completed our task. Took a
Right.
longer than we thought it would, but we have completed it.
Well, you guys did a great job too.
Yeah,
Great job, John.
so,
Thank you.
all
Bye.
right, thanks, John. So
Thank you.
we'll just let that one ride, nothing to do there. Conservation Commission, we have two expiring terms. So there's notification needed there.
Okay.
And posting perhaps. All right, the constable. There are 4 constables appointed, 2 of which are come out in 2021. Terms expire in 2021. I know that, Joe, were you on the board when we looked at constables earlier this year? I can't remember exactly when that happened. I know it's been since I've been on the board.
Yeah, no, I think something came in front of us. Somebody was asking if we would consider them being a constable. I know
Right.
that. Yeah,
And
but
we-
I never did anything because he had to get certified first.
Right, and we had another person come forward requesting an appointment as a constable, and I know that Chief Sartell had been on, and we were gonna look at that process. So I think this is something that needs looked at as far as process goes.
Mhm.
All right, moving on, Council on Aging. I know that we have an appointment form for Cheryl Simoneau. And I put that in the packet for, it's in the SharePoint under appointments. There is,
Could you scroll up?
oh, sure, sorry.
Thank
I'm
you.
looking at it on a sheet of paper and not necessarily on my screen. Thank you. Let me see if I can make it bigger. All right. So looking at this, it looks like we have 3 people. I thought Jane had resigned and that someone else had been appointed in her place. I know we made an appointment for Council on Aging recently. Cheryl, we have a reappointment for, so we'll have to put that on an agenda for June. And I don't know about the other one, so that might be something. Jim Hamill is the chair, I believe. We can check with him on that.
Okay.
All right, election workers. I think that this is something that Kathy brings forward for the election workers, similar to the firefighters and the police that we appoint in June.
Yeah, I think they do
Yeah,
it
I
every
believe
year.
they do it every year. So I'm not going to, other than checking in with Kathy, I'm not going to do anything else with that. All right, moving down to Energy Committee. There are 2 on the Energy Committee whose terms expire in 2021, and we did receive a reappointment email from them. So that can be reappointed in June. And it is in the SharePoint. If you go into the appointments folder in SharePoint, you'll see that. Finance Committee, that is appointed by the moderator. And I assume that he's gonna take care of that. So we'll just send a note on that. Fire EMS, move this down. Again, these are things that the chief brings forward to us. Highway Department, the tree warden. Did we just reappoint? No, it's 2023, so that's taken care of. All right. Historic District Commission. I don't know if this is complete. There are only 3 people listed there. And I know we had appointed others. So I don't think the Historic District Commission is up to date. So I'm going to request that they send us a list of current members and terms.
I think that they were 7 members with an alternate, if I remember correctly.
I thought it was 5 with an alternate. No, maybe it's 7.
Okay.
You're right. 1, 2, 3. I know there are 5, 6, 7. Anyway, we need certainty on this. So I know that there's an alternate, and I know that there are at least 2 other people on this committee who are not listed here.
So we'll just get a updated
Mhm.
list, I would think, right?
Yep. So I will see that the chair is notified. All right, let me, keeper of the lockup. I think this is again up to the chief. Licensing authority, the same thing. We do the appointments, but he lets us know. Meeting Hall Gallery Committee looks complete. The Neshoba Valley Technical School Committee, we appointed 2 members in March. Their terms were up in March of 2021, and we did appoint 2 members. So that needs updated.
So we did reappoint Karen.
We did, and Sheldon Chapman was the other one. So there are 2 members from town. And I don't off the top of my head remember the term, but I know they were reappointed. North Middlesex Regional School District School Committee. I know that this needs updated. I know that Jessica Funioli is one of the, I thought, appointed. I thought she was elected.
She was elected.
So this would have been an appointment that was just made because no one came forward. I don't know. Do either of you?
No.
Okay, so we need to get this updated. All right, moving on. Planning board, we had 1 appointed member, and I believe she is now a regular member. Is that correct, Chaz? You might know better
Yes.
than me.
Yes, Carol is a full member.
Full member, okay. She was just voted in, correct?
Correct.
And do you know if her term is 5 years?
I don't know how that plays out because she was an alternate member that went into a 1-year seat. Now there's 3 additional seats that are open, so I don't know how they're gonna reorg that.
Okay, so we do have appointments for planning board. I put it on the agenda for the 18th, a joint meeting with the planning board, because I know they did last night. So, so that will be on next week's agenda.
Yeah, there was, you also put appointments in that same folder as well, so.
I'll probably move some of those down. They'll move meeting to meeting.
Okay.
Is what I'm planning to do. Is there a better way to do it? That
No,
you can think of?
I've SharePoint has been my life for a long time, so I'm very familiar with the process.
Well,
Okay.
So, sorry, Joe.
work with me, man, because I'm getting there, but I'm still struggling. Oh,
So I'm just going, I put things that we wanted to consider today, but if there are things that need to go to the next agenda or the next one, I'll just move them from place to place.
Makes
As we
sense.
go.
at least we got them.
Police Department 2021. Okay, so Chief Sartell will get us those. Moving on to the Recycling Committee. Do we know if this is active or not?
No.
And that would be the Board of Health that would bring those to us, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I will check with them. Status of Recycling Committee. And TEMA, I'm assuming the same thing. There are some 2021s on here that would need to be reappointed. So to the chair. appointments. Looks to me like there's only a couple.
2, yes, that's
Two.
all I saw.
Okay. And then we get to, let me see, that's still TEMA. All right, yeah, so only 2. Town properties. We appointed that in the fall. With them, they're all expired, so we will need to look at that again. I'll look at the charter. There,
Didn't we just appoint somebody there? Not we, the board, but was there, I think Laura Schifrin was appointed.
planning board member.
Yeah.
And
Carol.
Carol got appointed to the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee.
Correct.
And she and I are actually meeting on Thursday,
Okay.
just to look at the document. We have a very, very small committee.
Okay.
So Townsend, maybe I have to post that. Do I have to post that? When it's not an official town committee? I don't think so. It's just to look at a document. Anyway, all right, Townsend Cultural Council. It looks like everybody runs out at 2021. And I know we just appointed someone to the Cultural Council.
Yes.
So I will check on this. I'll check with the chair. All right. Veterans agent is an employee, so I'm not sure if if he gets reappointed on an annual basis, but I know he was part of the budget process. So, and then the ZBA, it looks like we have 1 appointment, and we're the appointing authority. So and I guess the other question is this complete? I thought there were others on the ZBA. Is Arlene Sedano on the ZBA?
Mm-hmm. I think this list is when they didn't have a member and the selectmen had to appoint somebody. That's how they got on the list. That's why planning is on here with a person.
Planning is on there with a person? Who?
Yeah, that's why Carol was on here from the planning board, is because she was an associate member and then she was appointed.
Are you talking? Oh, you're talking about planning board.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. She got appointed by the board of
Right.
selectmen.
So what I'm saying is this list is only people who have been appointed. It's not a list of all the boards that we appoint, is what I'm trying to.
Okay, I thought that CBA was an appointed position, not an elected position.
You'll have to
Yeah,
look.
ZBA is appointed, not elected.
Yeah.
Dave, were you on the
That's
ZBA?
correct, Dave.
Yes, I'm on the ZBA.
You're
Along
not.
I
with
was on
Ally.
the DBA, and it is an appointed position, not an elected position.
That's what I thought. And so, Dave, you're not on here either.
Yeah, yes.
I'm an associate member. I'm not on the list, but I just got appointed, I believe, less than a year ago for a 3-year term.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when your term is up? I'm just saying you're not on the list that's on the website.
Right, that's what I'm commenting on. Sean Pearson just got appointed recently as a full member, not an alternate.
Oh,
He was an alternate, but has been elevated to a full member.
okay. So we need to update this for CBA.
Yeah, you'll
All right.
probably want to contact Bill Cadigan to get a complete full list.
Okay, I will do that. All right, so that's the list of appointments. So I have a list here. I'll write it up and send it out to you guys and contact people, or ask Jim to contact the people.
Yeah, have Jim do it when he comes back.
Yeah, I'll update this and send it to him. So, all right, any other questions on, this is 5.1, review the appointments and postings for appointments to be made in June. All right, I'm gonna stop the screen share then. All right, 5.2 was to review and update the personnel policies and procedures. And I thought on this, we could look at the document, discuss it. I guess there's a couple different ways we can go on this. So do you want me to pull that document up, or do you want to just go with what you have there?
Is this the Collins Center document you're talking about?
It's not Collins Center. It is the town's personnel policies and procedures. Let me get to it. It's in SharePoint also. I put it there. I guess the question comes down to, is this something that we want to is this something that we want to edit from what it is?
Well, I think this is what we've kind of talked, Madam Chair, that
this is different. This is not.
Is this the one you're?
Hold on. No.
No, that's what I. So I don't know.
This is not what I. No, this is not the document we should have. Okay, so let me.
That's the one. That's
what we have.
Yes, that's what we have.
It is, isn't it? I had made a request that. Okay, so let me go to the website. I'll pull this up in just 1 minute.
I thought I was kind of.
We
I
might
didn't
not
understand it, so now it's going to be something different than, because I looked at all of this thinking that this is what we were going to discuss.
Yeah, we might have to move this to another meeting.
Yeah, because I reviewed them 2 packets that we got sent.
Yep.
And
sorry, bang.
But it's good reading.
It is good reading. Good to know that, because it is the Collins Center stuff. There is a personnel policies and procedures manual.
I couldn't find it. I looked for it.
It might be hard to find on the new website. It might not have translated. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm doing a search right now.
Did I waste a lot of time on that?
Just Google policies and procedures, and then it's like the 1, 2, 3, 4th one down.
I think it's this.
Not Google, search on the site.
That's what I just did, and I think I got it. Okay, so let me, I'm going to share screen again, you guys. I don't have a title page on this, but this is what we're looking at. It's the personnel policies and procedures. And so these are the town's policies and procedures. And my understanding is if the union contracts cover certain things and they take precedence, if you are a non-union employee and your contract takes precedence, anything that isn't defined in either a union contract or a personal services contract is covered in this document. So it says the purpose is to be the official guideline to all. So to all personnel practices in the town of Townsend, but it isn't exactly that. Sometimes it takes precedence and sometimes it doesn't, depending on the contract that the employee is working under. So it needs to be looked at and it needs to be updated. But
Now, will there be any changes that that new charter did that we ought to be implementing in this at the same time?
well, the charter isn't yet in, it'll be probably another 10 months to a year till our charter, I mean, it could be that long, could be shorter, it's hard to say, until the new charter is in place. But yeah, it would be part of that.
Well,
So,
with Madam Chair, with the comments from town council at the town meeting, he says it could be a month or two. My suggestion would be, I would like to be able to look this over, do some highlighting, and then bring this back to have us come back in a work session to be able to talk more about that. That'll give me a better idea of what this document contains and what I'm very familiar with the charter changes, and then we can discuss it.
okay, so let's do that then. So, and I'll make sure that the one that we should be reviewing is in the, it could have been me. Maybe I slid the wrong one in. So, okay. So we will bring this back. We won't discuss this today, but I think the one thing when you are looking at this, should we be requesting something different to look at? Does this do the job for what we want?
Correct. I also want to make sure that this makes reference to certain changes that were made in the selectmen's policies and procedures as well. So I want to make sure it all matches up.
Okay, exactly.
Yep.
Right, so we'll bring this back maybe later in June or July. Does that work?
I'd say June.
June, okay. Get the right one in SharePoint. Sorry, you guys.
Sometime we get time, Chaz. I think if, you could stop by, you could kind of try to help me work through this SharePoint thing.
Could do that as long as we have a witness.
We don't discuss anything.
We don't discuss anything. I don't have a problem.
Maybe we should, when we're back in town hall, maybe we should have a SharePoint work session.
Oh, we could do that.
on how to do it and how we want it. Like right now, I'm putting stuff in the way that makes sense to me. Sometimes Carolyn puts things in that the way that makes sense to her. We usually communicate when we're, I put it in here, I put it in here, that sort of stuff, when we're both putting things in. But maybe if we looked at it and discussed what file structure we want and how we want to organize things, that would be useful. Adam told me that I could put emails that got sent to us that there were a couple that came in today that I asked him about, and he said, yeah, as long as you're not commenting on it, it can just go into the file.
It can be shared, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that as we progress, Joe, when something comes in, when it gets put into SharePoint, we all can look at it. We can't comment on it. And there's no open meeting law violation if it goes into SharePoint because we can't comment on it.
We can just read.
We can just read it. Absolutely.
Right. So that was what I heard. So, okay. So we'll go with that. Announcement. Should we move on?
Sure.
All right. Announcements. Do you want me to pull it up, Daz? I have the one on the Father Jeremy.
For Father Jeremy, sure.
Yeah, let me,
Yeah.
I can screen share that one.
Okay.
Let me X out of here. It's going to take me just a minute to pull it up. All right. Let's go to screen share. All right, can everybody see this? Should I make it larger? I can.
Well, I was going to read, just to read it into record. Sunday, May 30th, 2021, between 4 and 7 p.m., St. John's Appreciation Barbecue at St. John's Townsend. Blessing for Father Jeremy St. Martin has been moved to reassigned. And this is to thank him for his service here in Townsend. We are grateful to Father Jeremy for his love and devotion to God and for his service to the good people of St. James, St. Joseph's, and St. John's. And again, this will be on Sunday, May 30th, between 4 and 7 p.m.
There it is. And they bring an appetizer or dessert. Seating will be available outside and in. So, and there's an address there, Mary Genova at stjs.page. If anybody wants to
Have further questions or anything?
Yeah, I think this is up on the website as well. I'm not certain. If it isn't, I'll put it up. But I do think it's on the website. So, anything else? Announcements, communications?
Well, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think if we can discuss, I had to go into the old library yesterday in regards to looking for something with some of the TCAM people. What are we doing with that? To me, that was the biggest fire hazard I have ever seen. It looked like the building was just recently broken into also. Window was broken in the front door. Who is ultimately responsible? Or I think we're asking for trouble. What's happening over there? It looks like it's just a catch-all building, and anyone got anything they want to just not have in their office. Looks like it's making its way just anywhere. I mean, I think we ought to ask the building inspector and the fire chief, and I'd be happy to do that, to go over and let us know. I think we're asking for trouble there.
I 100% agree with that. I think that there are several different properties involved in this. I think safety is number one, Joe. And if you're concerned about safety as it being a hazard, I believe that the building inspector and the fire and the police chief all need to at least send a representative over there to take a look at it.
Well, if there was ever a fire in that building, oh my goodness, there would be a serious problem for firefighters. Even if, there was a break in that building, just to try to maneuver around the way they have everything, it's just a clutter of and somebody's been in there trying to move things around, looking for things. And I don't know, that's just only my impression. It's the first time I've been in that building in many, many years. I think it's a liability and a hazard to the community. So if you don't mind, I'd be more than happy to reach out to everybody and bring them over there and get their opinion and report back to us what their thoughts are.
I also think that whatever is over there needs to be gone through. And if it's not something that is going to be of use, then it needs to be disposed of. I also feel that if there's records over there, we need to get them in a more secure place than there.
I mean, it looks like evidently when they were tearing down the high school, there is all the stuff for TCAM would maybe they were thinking they were going to use it, but all of the video and I mean, it just piles and piles of just junk.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. We need to know who's responsible for what and have them go through with it. If it's not something that they're going to be needing, then we need to dispose of it.
Yeah.
So the other thing I think is that we have several old buildings that we kind of want to look at and figure out what we're doing. How are we going to bring those forward and get them rehabbed, reused, repurposed, whatever. The central fire station, the old central fire station, and the one down at the harbor, the little one
The
fourth.
historic harbor one.
Yeah,
agree
so,
with you there.
this is,
I know that those are, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, Veronica. Those are on the town properties list, and I would like to be able to, I know that they have looked at it in the past. I would like to see if we can get it revisited. I also would like to get the Historic District Commission involved in the ones that are in historic districts, so that, you know, this is one of my big passions. Is there's a lot of history in town that really needs to be taken care of, and this is where some of our grants that we need to be looking into, especially for our historic structures. The Hart Library would be one. The Harbor Harbor Fire Station. Those are two very important and very significant buildings within the town that need some help. They need some desperate help. I would like to be able to see what we can do to get those at least in a condition where we can repurpose or find some kind of thing. I would like to see maybe a little fire museum in the harbor fire station area.
Even a central station, that would be an ideal building for some of the old antique stuff in that center.
I agree.
I guess my biggest concern, and that's the first one I walked into, and if we want to have a further discussion, you know, at a meeting, or we can discuss it now, maybe we can delegate to amongst us. You know, I can take one part of it, Chaz, you can take one. I think we got to do something. I mean, I think, you know, we got to get in these buildings, and if they're really truly a fire hazard or a safety hazard, we need to deal with that and deal with the buildings. I really feel we're in trouble.
I agree. And I think we need to have a collaboration, Joe. I agree with you 100%. We need to get all the committees and boards that have to do with these particular buildings and all talk. We all need to have a place at the table for it.
This is one of the things that ultimately, in the end, third thing is the community one-stop for grants and other grants for a year from now, figuring out what we want. So maybe what we should do right now for immediate needs, and we have to decide if we need to vote on this. Joe, if you could check with, for the Old Hart Library, the fire department, the building department, and the police, because it's if the window is broken and it was indeed broken into or whatever, to just look at what we need for safety on that immediately. And Chaz, I'm making assignments here. Figure out the buildings and what, you know, town properties, historic district commission, what boards and committees we might want to meet with, and schedule a meeting for further down the road. Have our June and July meetings kind of set up. I think there's a June 29th, and I think 29th we're doing a joint meeting with the audit committee. The audit committee had discussed at our meeting last week, was it just last week, to bring forward the management letter and the financial statement for the last audit to discuss, have the board of selectmen and the audit committee just look at that letter and discuss it. So we thought a joint meeting would be good on June 29th. Okay. So maybe that meeting, the earliest for anything, if not the July, I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head. I'll pull out my calendar. The July meeting is the 20th, correct? So we only have one meeting in July.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's the 20th. So that might be another good date for starting the discussion on these properties.
I'd like to put that discussion in with the meeting room too as well.
Okay.
So so we can make ourselves very clear what we're doing. I will work with the fire police chief and the building inspector. We'll definitely start with the Hart Library. I set up a meeting with all of us together. We go over, we look at that, find out, get their recommendation. The fire chief says whatever, and then we'll bring that back to the board and make some kind of decision. And then we can look at some of the other abandoned buildings and just go in there and just make sure that at least safe. If anything ever happens, we're not going to lose a firefighter or a police officer in there because of neglect.
Right. And I think we can add in 97 Main Street, the brownfield site. I think that Jim has some information on that coming
That
forward.
building really, that's something we need to talk about. And
Yeah.
that building's falling apart inside. I know we got the brownfield, but we are truly need money in the community. Some of these buildings like that it's really no help to us. We should put them up for auction, sell them, put the money back in our funds.
So we can look into that as well.
Yeah. Awesome. I'll work with all three of them on some of these buildings. I'll go in, I'll make a list, their recommendations, in one meeting we'll bring it back.
Now the brownfield, that's a town property, right?
It is.
That's why I'm saying I think town properties has a list of all the properties, Joe.
Right.
And I think we should get that information from town properties so that we could look at everything as opposed to just and plan accordingly. Strategically go from one building or one parcel to another so that we have a plan. We look at the whole, make a plan, and then move forward.
All right, that's what I'll do. I'll reach out to who's in charge of the town properties.
It's either Vicky Tidman or Laura Schifrin.
Yeah, I don't know which one.
All right, I'll reach out to either one of them.
Okay.
And I'll get a list. Once I have the full list of all the properties, then I'll reach out to the fire chief, police chief, and the building inspector, and we'll bring along our maintenance person, Rob, with us, just so he'll be able to hear and have an idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
Do we need a motion?
I don't know if we need a motion or we can just, I don't know.
Normally do this. It wasn't on the agenda, so we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting to report back on that.
Yeah.
More collective decision, especially if the library has windows broken. It's not good for rain.
Yeah. Well,
and records that are stored in there. We really need to do an inventory. So, okay.
Did I didn't see the there wasn't a liaison report on here.
Oh, I left that out. I know why too. Okay, I have to add that to the template. Liaison reports. So let's add that in. Sorry. I didn't realize that wasn't there. Just do it under announcements, communications, etc., the catch-all, and I'll add liaison reports to the next one. I switched templates. Anyway.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure because I had a couple of things.
Okay.
We'll forgive you.
Thank you. All right.
I just wanted to let you guys know I've talked with all of the people that I've been assigned to. I know that the library had their Friends of the Library sale on before the town meeting. Well, and a little bit during too. Proceeds right now is $3,600 and growing. They're still selling plants that they had, any leftover plants, which I think is really good. They're very pleased with the amount of people that showed up. I want to thank everybody who helped the library to get things going over there. And I thought it dovetailed really well with the town meeting.
Yeah.
You know, But I had met with Stacy, the library director. We had a very productive conversation. I also talked with the recreation department as well last week, and we had equally good conversation. I guess on a broader note, this is all part of, I think what I'm hearing, that it's the communication and information sharing, I think is really important. That we as a board should need to focus on, maybe interboard or however it is. Having said that, I know that in the library there's an expansion project going on, and they really need to know what's going on. I think both the library director and the council on aging don't really know what time schedule it is, what's going to happen, how it's going to affect everything. So if we could make sure that that information gets to both of those people, I would appreciate it.
I think, correct me if I'm not right, but I believe they're ready to break ground over at that senior center expansion very shortly.
Mhm.
And I know there's going to be some work being done over there for updating the heating system and AC system that was having a problem.
Yep.
But no, I have been in contact with Mr. Shepherd, which is in charge of all that. They're just trying to finalize to nail everything down to an exact date, and then they'll be able to update everybody on that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Everybody's aware of what needs to be done. They're looking for a time frame because they have to schedule their employees around that as well. So that's all I'm saying. There's programming that they're in the process of developing, and they want, if they can get an idea of what's going to be happening so that they know what they need to do for programming.
Okay,
So maybe, Chaz, you could since you're the liaison for, I think I'm for Council on
Aging, yeah.
Reach out to Jim and ask him to get the schedule, or just go directly to the applicant. I knew that I didn't think that there were any building permits issued yet on that.
I think it's just about ready the way there was steel and stuff getting brought over there, so they're ready the way I understand it. But you could reach out if you don't get it out of Jim right off. Reach out to Mr. Shepherd. He'd be the man to get the straight answer from. He'll tell you when, why, and how everything.
Yeah, and that's what they're looking for. They know that the HVAC and the air handler is going to be worked on, which means that they're going to probably shut down the air conditioning unit and blah blah blah. So they want to be able to plan accordingly, whatever they need to do.
So do you want to reach out, or do you want me to, Chaz?
I can reach out. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Right.
And then, if there's a schedule, put it in the SharePoint.
Yep, I could do.
I'll share it with the Council on Aging.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Anything else as far as liaison reports, Chaz or
Nope.
Joe?
That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Our next meeting is May 18th at 6 p.m. It will be an executive session first in Town Hall, followed by a 7:30 regular meeting, which needed to be posted today for the joint appointment by the planning board, with the planning board and the board of select, that joint appointment.
Okay.
So Kathy, I believe, posted it this afternoon. It should be both on the website and outside. I don't know that agenda is exactly right. We may need to revise it, but if it wasn't posted 7 days in advance for the joint meeting for the appointment, we couldn't have made the appointment on May 18th to the planning board.
Right, and that's important. They've got some things in the works there that they got to cover.
Right. So I got that together quickly this afternoon and shipped it out.
Are we able to have? Is Joe and I? Are we able to do the meeting from Town Hall?
What do you mean? The Zoom meeting?
Yeah.
I made the executive session at 6. You should be in Town Hall.
Yep.
And then I made the regular meeting at 7:30. And that will be a joint with the board, with the planning board, joint with the Board of Water Commissioners. And there might be a few appointments.
What I'm saying is, are we staying at Town Hall?
Yeah.
That would be up to you. You might have time to go home in between.
I would just think we'll just stay there, Chaz. It'd be easier. I mean, we can be there together. It's a posted meeting. Is it going to be posted that we're going to be there? So
For the executive session, yes.
Okay.
The meeting at 7:30 is a Zoom meeting until we're opening town hall for meetings.
All right,
Something else we might want to put on an agenda to discuss eventually.
that's fine.
Or later in the summer, especially if Charlie Baker is lifting the state of emergency by
thank you.
August. So we should be considering
Okay.
how we're going to handle that. So
All right, good.
I think we have to work with the Board of Health on that too. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. So next meeting is May 18th. Joe, I'm gonna, you're the vice chair. So the June 1st meeting, I'm thinking June 1st is appointments mostly. So I'm gonna ship you what I have for that.
Okay,
And we'll see. One option is to move the June 1st meeting to June 8th, but then we would have the 8th, the 15th, and the 29th. So think about that.
well, I mean, let's talk about it now. I mean, you're gonna be away. I think we've done the main budget. I mean, we've got all that done. That's not that critical. I think where you're on vacation, I mean, we've been doing almost every week, and I think being the way we're doing it, I have no issue with this because the meeting's a little bit shorter and we can get it done. So let's just, instead of have the June 1st, wait till you come back and do them 3, if that's what you guys.
I'm okay with that.
Because the June 1st, that's the day, is Memorial Day the 31st?
Every year.
Yeah, so we
Oh, just move that. Let's not do the 1st. Let's do
do
June.
the 8th. Okay, so I will ask TCAM about changing the Zoom link that they gave me for the 1st to the 8th.
Yeah,
So
and
they
then
can
so
do that.
8th. What are the 3 dates? 8th.
8th, 15, and 29 in June.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. I mean, I think we've been every week. I get it's a little bit, but we've been getting a lot done, and let's just keep doing it.
Yep, I
Okay.
agree.
And so
Madam
maybe
Chair,
we
if I
can-
could,
John, go ahead.
in about 7 minutes, coming from the southeastern part of the US up to the northeastern part of the US, you may be able to see a rocket launch. And it's fairly clear tonight. So I just wanted to let you know in case you want to adjourn right now.
All right, so we have our next meeting set up and that's it. So
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
yes, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
Is there a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Cal, yes. All right.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second,
All those in favor of adjourning at 7:59 p.m.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
Veronica Cal, yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night. Go watch that rocket launch.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.